Hi. We're a bit delayed on this one. Sorry about that. Yesterday's video took a lot longer on the main channel, so we weren't able to produce this video. It is obviously going to be a response video. It is to somebody we've covered here a few times. They're becoming one of my favourite pinatas, I won't deny, because the mental gymnastics they apply, along with the fallacies they employ, the gaslighting, which is quite astonishing, they use to guilt, shame, and betray their entire species into doing what they think should be done to make their life better is quite impressive. They are truly devoted to their craft. I will link relevant videos down below if you're interested in checking out previous content here and on Rumble concerning the individual we are going to cover today. Today's video is shaming, guilting, attacking the white woman, the sandwich maker in the household, as it were. If you don't know how to make a sandwich, it's okay. It's because you have a Y chromosome. Jokes aside and genetics aside, because genetics in social constructs are not relevant in the slightest, we're going to try our best to take this person as super serial as we have done in the past. And by that I mean I'm going to mock them to high hell and hopefully you're going to enjoy it.
I'm so tired of white cis women being more dedicated to being called a healer than actually doing the work to be a healer.
I'm assuming because you've made a concerted effort to change your gender identity and your presentation of identity that you are free and exempt from any and all criticisms of white saviorness, because you're still white. You can say you're 1/16th and then a tribe, or 1/16th Inuit, 1/16th Clanger, 1/16th Muppet, 1/16th something else, I don't know, Fraggle. Let's go with that. We're sticking with a theme here, folks, of puppets. While not a big fan of the virtue signal, which is typically what it's called, or a savior complex if you want to devolve it down to race, I do understand why some, ignorantly, will blindly follow something and believe it to be true without applying any level of critical thinking. The same can be applied to what comes out of your mouth. In many of the videos we've covered before, back when you had long hair and looked like a whammon because you passed as one, now you totally don't. A lot of your bleating on about people having to still wear masks to appease the disabled because coof, came across as disingenuous.
The only thing that you're worried about healing is your bruised ego and being confronted with your complacency in genocide and your...
So I know I'm interrupting in the middle of a thought and a point. It's okay, we'll go back slightly so that the point can be played out for context. I want to insert an obvious remark here about optics. Many people who do what is typically considered a form of virtue signal do look at the optics first. There are many who will just blindly assert and blindly follow. They are sheeple. This is not something I condone in the slightest. I believe every individual should make an informed decision and not act solely to look for their own confirmation bias. If you go into something with a bias already in place, it shows you're already ignorant to nuance and understanding. You can argue, oh, but I already understand it. Without the full context, you can never truly understand something. Oh, and you might have seen this person recently on my more recent Omegon video this week at Twitter. Yeah, they're really stupid, and I love criticizing. They're very amusing to me.
The only thing that you're worried about healing is your bruised ego and being confronted with your complacency in genocide and your obsession with upholding privilege.
What's fascinating here is, over watching their content for a number of months now, I have noticed they have kind of moved the goalposts. I say kind of because at first they were just shaming a particular group of political leaning individuals. Generic. They tried to go after men. It didn't work. They moved on to white women because white women during election season are a rather large demographic, and apparently guilting them, shaming them at this rather trying time where there's a lot of conflict in the world, the political space is always conflict riddled, is again a gauche tactic that has been used for millennia to try and get the result one wants in their life. In this, you are trying to guilt white women to kowtow to your demands that they be active healers in a rather trying and difficult situation. An example would be you have had many an opinion on the Israel-Palestine debate. Ukraine-Russia, although not as much more recently, mostly Israel-Palestine. Your biggest gripe though still is the lack of masking up in society. And of course the obligatory response to that is, get the fuck out of here with those masks. Thank you.
We do not need more nice white women. Are you kidding me?
Would you rather they be silent, their voices not heard? Would you rather they be more aggressive, assertive, controlling, Karen-like perhaps? Would you rather they be good allies and do as you tell them? Would you rather they not be a part of the discussion at all? Because what you really need is to set women's rights back. You realize how on the face of it this all seems a bit stupid, right? Essentially attacking a large swath of a population because what they're doing is not enough for you.
And stop asking marginalized people to do the work for you because you don't feel comfortable with it.
A very obvious point to make now is that you are portraying white women as racist and, as your title in the video, abusers. But you are speaking in a very generalized and vague manner on purpose to make everything seem like a wider point needs to be drilled home, and also to place emphasis on how far removed you are from the sisterhood, or as I have no doubt you would call them in this, the Ku Klux Karens.
I am so tired of having conversations with white cis women where they're more upset about the fact that they're being called in or called out than the fact that they're harming marginalized people.
Do try to imagine the surprise on my face when an individual, regardless of the colour of their skin, does not appreciate they are being called out for something. You are, by the way, the one devolving it down to the colour of the skin because of what you believe you've seen as a trend of behaviour from those who've been called out that happen to also be white and women. You speak in generalised tone, you also speak as if from a position of, well, they're all guilty and wrong, therefore, this is my wider point because white women can never be right. You realise how, on the face of it, you can come across as not only disingenuous, a fraud, but also a bit of a twat.
The fact that there is little genocide that they are paying for with the fucking advertisements that they're putting all over Instagram.
This is a very hotly contested subject, and I see which side you've taken. It's a fascinating one, really. Who's in the right and who's in the wrong is debatable. Who is and is not advertising for it, who is or is not profiting from it, who is or is not in the right, is contested by many. As we know, history is written by the winners, and I see this only ending one way. But it is fascinating to see as time has gone by, just how willing people are, as keyboard warriors, to give their voice, or in your case, your TikTok account, a voice, to drive home a point about profiting and how one is not helping in the healing process, although that doesn't apply in some areas of the world where they don't really adhere to the concept of peace talks. It's a cultural thing, which in turn makes this all a bit weird because we can sit on our high horses or in our ivory towers or in our hemp towers to drive home our point of what we perceive as or should be correct to handle a situation, but in reality it doesn't culturally translate. You as somebody that has shown and expressed an interest in a religion, one religion in particular, should know better, but apparently you've only bothered to pay attention to the one, chastise another, and ignore the third Abrahamic because it's not good enough for you. Yes, I pay attention.
And these are the same women that are the first to minimize the impact of social media.
Some do take the internet far too seriously. Some also don't realize just how powerful the internet can be when it is weaponized for the right reasons. Cough, cough. Bud Light, cough cough, whiskey is better, cough cough, do one, cough cough, death to all but metal. In other respects though, there are far too many who take this online space too seriously. They do so forgetting that the internet is just a communication platform. It's now become a very convenient platform where we can reduce down what we need in our lives to just purchasing online. The people who go into the internet taking it far too seriously are the same boomer types who think that once they've deleted a video is gone. It's never gone, but you have to learn this the hard way, apparently, multiple times with slaps to the face.
And also the first to use social media as their business opportunity, to use their voice, to create their community.
I'm getting the distinct impression you don't have any sponsors and you're salty about it. It's because you now pass as a white man. That's why. You white men are not worth sponsoring. You could ask Grey Shadow Legends though if you like, but you need to learn how to say, it's a boy.
So why is it that when in your mode of healing and community and business, why the fuck is liberation not being centered?
Because some people know where to stay in their own lane. Because some people have to protect their brand. Because some people are smart enough to know when an issue is divisive as the one you are grandstanding on, they know if they pick a side, they are not going to win. They're going to cause harm to themselves and to others around them. Some know optics. Haven't I said this already?
Y'all are stealing resources and precious energy and precious time from marginalized people because you are not willing to do it yourself. It's pathetic and it's privileged as
You seem angry. I like it when you're angry because while reading from a script you still can't help but insert those profanities, thinking it adds a level of oomph to your point. I doubt you put them in the script because of the dead air after each time you said it. All of which I removed because I'm smirked like that. Now you're still speaking in a vague area, a ballpark, about privilege and how white women are to blame for something. We all know what you're referring to really, but it's often quite amusing to use it to make other points, isn't it? Because you've left it open enough to do so. Really, you're just trying to find a reason to start guilting because you're laying a foundation to do so. Future videos will undoubtedly be uploaded to your TikTok, all very scripted and professionally done on your rip-roaringly successful account to drive home a point to get what you want. Which would be a form of control. It won't work because I don't think you understand the internet. You really don't at this point.
You have so much power. Stop pretending that you can play small and get away with it. Step it the up. Your comfort is not a priority here. At all.
The context for this particular video concerned an individual called Bren Brown, a self-titled healer that works at the University of Houston. They were for the longest time held in high regard. They preach a lot about healing, listening, and learning. This video was also inspired by an interaction with a former friend of Birdie Blossom called Elizabeth Gillette. The only Elizabeth Gillette I could find was a attachment specialist author therapist. Might be them, might not be them, doesn't really matter. They believe that these two white women present a problem for the world concerning white feminism and their place within it. Rather amusingly, in the comments to this video, they got a fair amount of flack for picking Bren Brown, but also for being essentially a white woman attacking white women, or attacking white women while being a man, therefore making this misogyny, which tickled me to no end. If you want to go find it, go nuts. On their TikTok of late, their last few videos have done really well on views, and the reason why is because as they pushed further and further with testosterone and changed their appearance massively in doing so, people have been sharing their videos to Twitter. I may well have to pull a few of these videos because honestly, there are levels of amusement I am willing to suffer for you. You're all welcome. I should apologize for the lazier version of this video. For some peculiar reason, I don't feel great, and I thought, I still want to make a video, and this one tickles. Do let me know what you think in the comments. I will link this one from the TikTok directly down below, just in case you require context.